Well, here we are, in life, in the lifetime. I bought a car yesterday, 2 days ago, and I think I'm going to be really happy with it. It's a mid-90s Subaru, and I've never owned a Subaru before. It needs a little front-end work that I didn't realize when I bought it. And I'm prone to buyer's remorse. So I had kind of a frustrating day thinking about it, but then I called up my brother, and I feel like the work will get done affordably, quickly, and then I'll have this car that I just adore. Because I really like it, but it needs a little bit of front-end work. Yeah, what can you do? You know, life is a puzzling thing sometimes, even. Now that I'm talking to the camera, it might just need a little alignment. Now, I was going to hold off aligning it. Well, see, I need CV joints. At least one. I need a CV joint. That boot is blown. Or at least the boot. It's not making any sounds, but... Or is it? It is making a sound. I thought it was the speedometer. But it was coming so far to the left of the instrument panel that I was thinking, maybe the cable goes back that way before it goes down. But no, it's the CV joint. I'm sure of that now. So I have to replace the CV joint regardless. But if I just aligned it, it could be good for 1,000 miles or something like that. CV joints. I was thinking I needed, I really need to replace the oil pan gasket. I definitely need to do that as well. Maybe I could just tighten it up, but the way that snugging up screws on old gaskets like that, it can seal it up, or it can break it and cause a bigger leak. I mean, if I snugged them a little bit, that would be okay. If I tightened it down, it could make a problem. So I could snug those down, slap some grease in that CV joint, and some duct tape, or my magic good tape. It's like Gorilla Tape before Gorilla Tape existed. I've had this roll of tape for years. For years. I got it when I got my massage table from the discount store in Lawrence, Kansas. They had one that was a little broken, a little torn, but whatever. Jasper, who used to own the house that Brent bought. I wonder where Jasper's at. I should call Brent, because I bet he's connected on Facebook. Jasper, he was a smart man. Very smart man. And he was the first person who told me you could buy land on eBay. I was about as incredulous as everybody else I've ever told that to. But I've bought and sold land on eBay. It's pretty easy. The first couple times, it's a rush. It's like, click. It's like a $3,000-$4,000 click. It's like, oh my gosh, because you don't know. I mean, you can intuitively sense, but you don't know. There was a couple houses for sale here in Las Vegas. I tracked down the management company of one of them, and they said, no, it's definitely not for sale. And I flagged the eBay a few times, and finally I called them and said, look, I don't know why this is suddenly my responsibility, but why are you letting this go on? Because they're posting a fake house. Well, how do you know? I talked to the owner. He said it's not for sale. Of course, I didn't tell him it was actually the management company, but the price on these houses were so ridiculously low. And the way it was phrased clearly would have been an irreversible move if it was a scam. And it was a scam. So, not that you're going to go buy land on eBay, but when you get land, there's some very fundamental things you need to think about. Or property at all, houses. Number one, access. You need to be able to get to the land. It seems a silly thing to say, but it's real. You can buy and sell land that there's no way to get to. Sometimes land is on a river with no roads, which, might be fun. But oftentimes it's in the back of a desert area where roads simply haven't been cut to. But sometimes, not only is there no road, but there's not even an easement for a road. With an easement, you're legally entitled to walk and move property on that land to get to your property. But there might be no road. There might be a bunch of trees there. But you have an easement. You can even buy land where there's no easement. It's just land out in the middle of nowhere that you can't get to. And if someone says, oh, you can drive across my property to get there, I guarantee it. That's not good enough. It has to be deeded somehow. And they're not going to deed their own property if they don't have to. So, you need access. The land or property should have some sort of benefit to you. You should be able to say this is why it's special, not just because it's real dirt. Is it on a river? Does it have some interesting view? Do you have a special association with the area? Does it have a big old bank vault in there? Something that makes it like, wow, that's really neat. If it doesn't have that, then you shouldn't get it. Just flat out. And also you have to think about the costs of this land. And not just the price tag, but also the fees. Usually on eBay at least people charge a few $100 in fees. It's just a scam. They're just tacking on a few $100 extra bucks, They're basically making you pay for the ad and some sort of big lunch buffet for a week for themselves. Yeah. So the cost, what is the cost? How much does it cost? What are the taxes? If the taxes aren't listed, or if you suspect that it might actually be in a homeowners association and it's not being listed as such, it's something to watch out for. Because taxes might be $20 a year, but the home association fees could be $200 a year. And you might be saying, well, $200 a year, that's not much. Well, yeah, it might not sound like much, but you know what? Can I have $200? It's like, it's inconvenient. And, you might own the land for 10 years before you even go to it or something, do anything with it. So what is that? 10 times 20? It's $2,000 that you're paying out. Now, if you can rent it or lease it somehow, that's one thing, So what are the costs? What are the benefits? Can you get to it? If you're buying land, you should think about those things. But I have property, I have property in North Dakota. It just looked like fun. It was lucky that it was in the oil boom shortly thereafter, and the oil rights in that particular property hadn't been leased or sold. So I leased them for more than I paid for the property. Taxes are less than $10 a year. It's just like that. Now, if I had been on the ball and really been like, crack that whip, that particular property, I could have made some money on. I could have gone up there, laid down a pad of concrete with a loan from North Dakota, because North Dakota during the crash was the only state that had money, the way they did their banking system there. So I could have gone to North Dakota, got a small development loan, put down a pad of concrete, and rented the parking spots with no utilities for $1,000 a month. That may sound ridiculously like a lot, like fictional, but during that time, yeah, people were getting driveways with no utilities for $1,000 a month. So if I had 5 spots at $500 a month, that would have been, the only people that wouldn't have been happy would probably have been my neighbor, because I saw on the map, his fence goes on my property. I'm like, okay, well, we'd have to move that fence, and then he'd have neighbors all of a sudden. So, there's always going to be something. Which, that's another thing. If you buy property, you got to think about. You might not think about it, but you got to think about it if you're going to spend any time there. Your neighbors. You're going to be next to these people all the time. They're basically going to be new family. It's kind of weird. You know, I drove trucks, and I was a truck driving trainer. And for 4 weeks, boom, suddenly right next to somebody for a month that I had never met before. I got along okay with everybody pretty much, but it's a bit of a shock. The fact is, people are good. There's a lot of good people in this world. Anyhow, Om Shivaya, Om Ram, Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. We are within the living God. You are among the living God. Now is life, and now is the reality you're living. So beautiful. So mind-blowing. God bless you.